If you guys have been keeping up with the channel at all, you know that I've been doing some sole swap hybrids for the homie, the Sneaker Savant. Today's video is going to be the third sole swap that I did for him, combining the uppers of some Nike Cortezes with the soles of some Nike Pegasus. Unfortunately, I lost some of the footage during the making of process, so I'll try to walk you through exactly what I did to create this combination with what footage I could find. So kick back, relax, and enjoy this sole swap hybrid customization. Originally, the Sneaker Savant had wanted to use the uppers from these Nike Cortez with the soles from some Nike Challengers. Unfortunately, due to sizing and alignment issues, this was just not possible if we wanted a clean final product. So we swapped out the Nike Challengers with these Nike Pegasus. The fitting between the soles of the Pegasus and the uppers of the Cortez worked a lot better and made the project a lot more realistic. To begin this project, I first had to separate the soles from the uppers. I started with the Cortez because the soles were already separating a little bit, and all I had to do was apply a little bit of acetone at the seams where the uppers met the soles, and follow that up with some steam from my steam gun to help to break down the bond from the factory glue. Like I said, the soles were already separating on this pair, and that made this process quite a bit easier. After just a bit of acetone and steam, these uppers started to peel away from the soles with no problem, and using just a little bit of pressure from my hands, I was able to get a nice clean separation and preserve both the soles and the uppers. With the uppers removed from the soles, it was time to get them prepped. To do this, I had to remove all of the old factory glue. I started off with my Dremel and a grinding bit to help to grind away the old factory glue. I had to be incredibly careful and utilize exceptionally light pressure to make sure that I wasn't going to damage the delicate materials of the uppers. After removing as much glue with my Dremel as I possibly could, it was time to break out the acetone and cotton balls. I used the acetone and cotton balls to scrub down the uppers and remove any remaining factory glue and any debris I had created with the Dremel. It took a long time, but eventually I was able to clean everything off completely. With the uppers from the Cortez completely prepped, it was time to move on to the Air Pegasus. I followed the same process, utilizing some acetone at the seams between the uppers and the soles, following that up with some steam from a steam gun, and then I even broke out my bone folder to help to apply some extra leverage to remove the uppers from the soles. Unfortunately, this process was a lot more challenging due to the fact that the bond between the uppers and the soles was substantially stronger on these Air Pegasus. Luckily, with some elbow grease and time, I was able to remove the uppers from the soles without damaging any of the components. With the soles removed from the Pegasus, it was time to get them all prepped and remove all of the factory glue. Again, I broke out my Dremel and a grinding bit and tried to grind away all of the old factory glue. I didn't have to be quite as delicate with the soles as I did with the uppers, but I did have to be careful because otherwise the grinding bit would actually bite into the soles and dig a really deep hole into them. I followed this up with some acetone and cotton balls to again remove any sort of debris I had created during my dremeling process and remove any sort of excess factory glue that still remained. Now that I have both my uppers and my soles completely prepped, it's time to get them bonded together. To begin the attachment process, I'm going to line up my uppers with my soles, and using a heat erasable pen, I trace where the soles fall on the uppers so that I get a really good alignment and I know exactly where I need to apply my glue. After getting everything aligned as best as I can, it's time to apply my Barge Super Stick cement. I applied 2 layers approximately 15 minutes apart from each other to ensure that I get a nice even coating and enough glue on both the uppers and the midsoles. After getting my super stick applied, I let it cure for about 5 to 6 hours. I find that allowing the barge to cure completely actually allows me to align my surfaces better when I reactivate it later on, and it gives me a much stronger bond at the end of the day. Once I've allowed the barge super stick to cure for about 5 or 6 hours, I reactivate it using a heat gun. For this pair, I started at the heel because I felt like that was going to get me the best alignment possible. Once I had secured the heel, I moved up to the toe. I like to do the heel and the toe first because I find that the medial and lateral sides will fall into place and will allow me to glue down everything and bond my surfaces with the best alignment possible. Once I've heated up all the outer edges of the shoe, it's time to go inside and heat up the footbed. I do this to ensure that I have a nice even bond throughout and that there will be no wrinkles or surfaces that are going to cause any sort of discomfort anywhere in the shoe. Now that my two surfaces are bonded together, I'm nearly done with this project and just need to put some final touches on it. Now that I'm finally done with this Nike Cortez and Nike Pegasus sole swap hybrid, let's take a closer look so you guys can see how it all came together. Out of the 3 sole swap hybrids that I did for the Sneaker Savant, this one proved to be the most challenging. Between a failed attempt at trying to combine the Cortez uppers with some Nike Challenger soles, and a failed first attempt at combining the Cortez uppers with the Air Pegasus soles, I ended up having to do my prep work 3 times over, which meant that this project took a lot longer than I had initially expected. At the end of the day, I was able to get a nice strong bond between the uppers and the soles, and a really cool product that kind of resembles an updated Cortez that looks much more like a new age runner. Although it's not quite as clean as I had hoped it would be due to the number of times I had to do prep work, these things definitely came out looking really cool, and I'm pumped on the final product. Even though this project didn't turn out 100% the way that I wanted it to, I still think that the final outcome is really nice and I'm pretty pumped. But definitely let me know what you guys think about this sole swap hybrid in the comments below. I'm really interested to know what your thoughts are on a project like this. As per usual, thank you to everybody that stuck around until the cold, bitter end of this video. You guys already know, I'm Sailboat and I'm out of here.